Hi, I'm Tim Andrews. Welcome to the Courageous Hearts podcast.
Hi, I'm Jackie DeVito. Welcome.
And so thanks for joining us today. Today we were wanting to talk about who are we without our story? And there's so many different stories. Like my story could be, was, like I was the abandoned one. I was the left one. I was the one that had to work harder than everybody else. And then there's the opposite of that too. I don't have to work harder than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I can, I can have and do whatever I want without consequence. There's a lot of different aspects of this story. I'm the anxious one.
Really? I didn't
No,
think that
I'm
about
not.
you.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing out
that's me.
the stories. Like, I'm the anxious ones. I'm the this ones. I'm the that one.
I'm alone.
I'm alone.
I'm unlovable.
Yep, I'm unlovable.
Things don't work out for me.
Yep, it's not fair. That's like an all-time favorite for me. It's not fair. It's not fair. I was telling someone today, it's not fair. This isn't fair.
That's
Doesn't
one of
make
my
sense.
greatest hits.
Yeah, that is a greatest hit of mine. If I haven't said that, I don't say it as much as I used to, but it's very much a part of my story. It's not fair, and it was part of my childhood. It wasn't fair.
Yeah.
I mean, these stories come from really deep places. They're not manifested out of nowhere.
Well, I saw this guy talking on a podcast, and he talked about, and I knew this, our brain holds on to the memories with the highest emotional output or whatever, the highest emotional reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So how we make meaning of our life is basically we string together the highest emotional memories, and then that turns into our story, our meaning, or whatever. So if you've had, a pretty chaotic life full of abandonment, then you're that person that everybody leaves. But there's all these moments in between that we are not considering. For me, if I think about my head, like my brain, like a Rolodex, there's like 10 little index cards that are sticking out, And one is like my mom being abusive. 2 is like my dad leaving and me never knowing where he really was. 3 was like going on vacation with my aunt and uncle and being the kid that had no money that they brought with them because I was like the woe is me kid. 4, I don't know. I'm so tired of my own stories. But there's like 5 or 6 that like pop out and I'm like, yeah, see that's me. That's my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I take a step back and I'm like, that's part of my story. Yeah, it is part of my story. And I'm also like that girl, 12 years old, that went and got a job and like kicked everybody's ass selling, I outsold everybody at this little clothing store and everybody was like in their 20s and I was 12. And I was like, let me get you this. And what are you looking for? And how about this? And I was the girl that made everybody feel comfortable because, I don't know, I wanted to be everybody's friend. And I really cared about people. I was a girl, the first in my family to go to college. I was, the girl that went and got her I was just there's just a lot of little stories in between that really define my life that I don't often stop and take a look at. It's always those big little index cards that are sticking out.
I can relate to that. And those index cards are so powerful because most of these index cards are passed down generationally.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just hold our little 2-3 years of experience on this earth or 4 decades. We're talking about centuries of belief systems around you can't have what you want, or life isn't fair, you're not good enough, or you're gonna be left. It's like centuries of that.
Yeah, I was just talking to a client about something similar yesterday, and I said, she's not pushing herself to really get what she wants because that would feel like a betrayal from the family system that she came from. So me, I'm kind of the different one in my family, in the sense from some of the decisions that I've made in my life. And where I've heard like, are you crazy? What do you mean you're going back to school? Or what do you mean you're leaving your relationship? Or what do you mean like, because people don't do that in my family.
Mm-hmm.
They stay. And, you know, she who suffers the most is the best
Mm-hmm.
woman. And I was like, I learned that this was not an epiphany of mine. I learned it through our work.
Right.
But that's a bullshit story I was fed. It's okay to choose yourself. Actually, it's not only okay, it's necessary. Because most of the women in my family, although they had amazing traits, we did learn to self-abandon. We learned to glorify self-abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you chose yourself, then like, oh my God, you're selfish. And then they were bitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's at the end of the road of anger is bitterness.
Bitterness and snappy and, you know, all sorts of health issues. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember like my grandmother, my grandfather, I loved my grandfather to death, but he was not the most emotionally available man. And my grandma was like the doer. She kind of like, I always said I felt like she had roller skates on. She was always like doing everything. My grandfather would just kind of sit in the rocking chair. And after he passed, I remember her just crying. They loved each other dearly, and you know, were married for 60 years. And one day she just said to me, you know, he never bought me flowers.
uh,
Yeah, actually, I sent her flowers one time and said it was from him, and she was like, bullshit.
uh,
She was like, he's never sent me flowers. So, you know, there just was this culture for women in my culture that you give, and you do, and you do, and you do, and you do. And not that my grandfather didn't, he did it in his way. But there wasn't like I'm going to go out and get my nails done,
mm-hmm.
or I'm going to go and do something special for myself.
Right.
And this waiting for somebody to do it for you.
Yeah, it's part of a part of a bigger story that we tell ourselves or that we were indoctrinated into. And that story, so many people have a story. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. That's why I'm just sitting here like, God, man, everybody's got a story. You know, the story of, I mean, to every story that we didn't get what we want is to another story that we did get what we want. So, you know, that if we're creating that story, it's typically about the story of how someone did something to me, or the story of if that person was different, then my life would be different. Or I know it's all victim, and it's part of a story.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like the stories are always so egocentric.
Mm-hmm.
I did EMDR. Another one of my little index cards is that story about Disney World that I told
Yep.
you.
Yep.
So we went to Disney World. I was this little girl, and I might have even told it on here. Who knows? I was a little girl, and there were no Disney stores back when we were growing up. So going to Disney and going into the Disney store at Disney World was like Mecca, right? You were like everything that you could have ever wanted. And I was probably about 7 years old, and my cousin was 4, and my aunt and uncle would take me on vacation because my parents were divorced, had no money, blah blah blah. So my cousin was like, "Whoa!" And she's like running through the store, you know, grabbing things. And I went to like go, and my grandmother held my hand, squeezed my hand, and she looked at me and she was like, "We look, but we don't touch." And like my little heart broke. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a belief that was created there that like I couldn't have what I wanted. Not only could I not have what I wanted, but almost like I had this lot in life
Mm-hmm.
because of where I came from. So I couldn't ever want too much or ask too much or get my hopes up or dream too big. And I did EMDR around it because it really like created some fear around money and lack. And when I did EMDR around it, first of all, the first thing was like, that was then, this is now, and that it's not true. But the second thing that happened during EMDR was I moved the perspective to what my grandmother must have felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother, like, she adored me.
Mm.
And I was like, man, my heart broke for her to know that she didn't have money to buy me anything there, and that she had to break the news of, like, sorry, babe,
Wow.
there's nothing for you here. And then to see my cousins get whatever they wanted, like, that must have been really hard for her.
I don't know that was easy for anybody except your cousins. I mean, I think that would have been very hard. There's a difference. We make oftentimes experiences our identity versus them just being experiences.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the reality of a story. And for sure, everyone's that was connected to your side of that story's heart would breaking, and everybody that was connected to the other side of the story lived in a story of it's abundant. It's kind of an interesting, it's such an interesting perspective. Two people, same place, same time. Someone's walking away with it's abundant, so then that becomes their story. And I know those people that walked away in your particular story that had abundance, they had their own level of insanity and their own level of stuff that went on for them in their life that wasn't abundant. And then, you left away walking with that story is there's scarcity. Like life is scarce. You gotta obey the rules. It becomes part of the story, which is interesting too, because right now you're in the process of redoing your bedroom exactly the way that you want to do your bedroom. Which is it starts to we get to change these stories. Like this is the story that you get what you want, or that I get what I want, or we get the relationship we want, or we have the office we want, and then we become that story, but we're telling that story as we keep continuing to tell the old story.
Yeah, and these, being aware of what these stories created for us is so important because, I mean, how many clients don't we work with that were making millions and millions of dollars and somehow lost it? So it was never about the earning capacity, but it was the belief about what they deserved or what they didn't deserve. So I remember when I would get scared around money and you would say, look at the truth, Jackie. And I'd look at my 401k and I'd look at my finances, and yeah, that would be helpful in the moment. You're like, okay, I guess I'm okay. But really, like, there's just this belief of that's so ingrained. It really wasn't until I did EMDR around it that it changed for me.
Some of those heavier stories are still in the process of changing for me. And what is so helpful for me in that process is just talking about it. When I talk about it, I look at what's the truth around it. I write news stories all the time, like literally hand to pen or pen to paper, write news stories about what this could look like and change. I change the endings of old stories to work out the way that I wanted them to be. You can look at the perspective. I mean, I get to look at different perspectives. It's an old story. And, a lot of people, a lot of the great thinkers, a lot of the great, even though these are real for us, who was I just listening to? Joe Dispenza, and he was saying he's so advantageous about, like, we don't even remember the story as the story is.
That's right.
Like, within a short period of time, we are telling a different story, are telling the exact story differently than the way in which we saw it.
Yeah, like I was at SeaWorld when that happened. Wasn't Just kidding.
With my grandfather.
I was in sea. I was 25.
This is just an old story, and what a lot's changed too. And to talk about the other ways in which we can change. When I rolled into spirituality and meditation, and again, what I said to you about let's look at the truth. So many people are talking about, the money thing, about not having money and then I'm like, but what is the truth?
Sure.
Is the truth that you don't have money? What, do you have any money in a 401k? Do you have any money saved? Is your car paid off? Is your house paid off? And oftentimes, we're able to create hundreds of thousands of dollars in 3 minutes in reality. Which, again, in that moment, sometimes it'll change the fact immediately. And there's another piece of our stories. There's a real, because it's a habit, a want to hold on to the story, because we talked a few podcasts ago about change. because people, we don't like change. Some people don't like change. Some people embrace change. So for a guy like me that doesn't like change, which is the way majority of the people are in the world, like they're
Sure.
more afraid of change than they aren't. You would be the anomaly in that. And the reality of that is, so then to change the story is change.
Yeah.
And there's fear assessed with changing the story. And that poem, like, our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure, is our reality, which is what everybody, all the great thinkers, all the old thinkers, all of them say the same thing. We are the manifestors of we can have whatever we want. We are the manifestors of our destiny. We are the reality that is not yet perceived. That is us in our complete totality. Powerful beyond measure. Embracing change.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, when they think about manifesting, they think about like, oh, if I believe I can have it. But it's not just, can you believe, or do you believe that you can have it? Do you believe that you deserve it? Do you act in accordance with a person that has these type of things? I think I told you the other day, I was like, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the gym. And then I didn't go to the gym. And it's like, that's it. My energy's off. I had like 5 people cancel for the week. I had all, and I'm like, I know this is in direct correlation to me not keeping my word to myself, because why would I create an energy where other people keep their word to me or to themselves when I'm not keeping my word to myself? So it's like down to, our daily habits on the life that we're going to attract.
Yes.
Our words, the energy, our thoughts, it's all encompassing.
Yeah, life's fluid.
For sure.
And life is energy. And life will just continue to reflect back to us who it is we are.
Yep.
And we can change the story in a millisecond if we're choosing to change the story. And we can change our mood. Tony Robbins always talks about that, where change your state, change your mood. It'll change a feeling.
Yeah, Joe Dispenza says, change your energy, change your life.
Yeah. That's part of all of that, which changes the story. It's practice. We could talk all day about stories and change and.
Well, first is awareness, and then is moving into action.
Yeah, Dave used to talk about that all the time. Awareness is the booby prize.
Yeah, so I'm guilty of that. I tend to be a collector of information. But I do move as well. Like, we wrote the book, we got The Office, I went back for my doctorate. But for me to really reach like the next level, it's the devil's in the detail.
100%.
It's going to the gym. It's meditating when I say I'm going to meditate. It's going to my meetings and working my program. It's just doing the things that I know will create the best version of me.
Yep.
And I know that when I do those things, like, life always meets me, the universe always meets me, God always meets me. It takes courage. Because there's a resistance. There's a resistance in the comfortable.
Yeah, well, it's back to that statement too. Like, we're powerful beyond measure.
Yeah. That's it.
Not that we're inadequate. We're powerful beyond measure. And to land in who we are as human beings in this world, powerful beyond measure, there's just a ton of response. There's like a whole nother layer of responsibility to that. There was a guy, just real quick, that I was listening to yesterday. He's like the 6-time Mr. Olympia. And he said everyone's got a morning routine. So he's talking about his morning routine, but he goes, I go on a walk every morning, and I've been doing it for 5 years, 6 years. I don't know, whatever he said. And I guess someone had asked him a question. Yeah, you're not even competing right now. Why would you? And he goes, oh, I do it every morning. I stick to the routine. And he goes, because the minute that I stop walking, he goes, it'll be real slow. I always thought this was quick. He says it's real slow. I stop walking, then I stop, my cardio when I get home, then I stop having my shake at this time. I mean, it was pretty specific about how he's operating in his life. And he goes, before you know it, I'm 10, 15 steps away from anybody that I used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, what the word that comes up for me is integrity.
Mm-hmm.
It's being in integrity with self.
Yep, integral.
The moment that starts to slip, even if just by a little,
Yep.
it starts to snowball.
Yep.
We see that in recovery.
Yep.
I remember like when people would come into the meeting 5 minutes late.
Yep.
And share and be like, this is how it starts.
Mm-hmm.
First, I'm going to meetings, I'm prioritizing. Then it's not such a big deal. Then I'm 5 minutes late. Then I'm not going to, and then next thing you know, the relapse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then back into an old belief system that says I can't have what I want, or life's hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's literally that quick. That's how these stories keep creeping up on us.
Yeah, I believe that. 3 things.
Change your story, change your life.
Mm-hmm.
You can change your story on a dime. The same story that says you can't have what you want. If you turn right, there's another story that says you can have everything you want.
Mm-hmm.
And create routines that help support new stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I really like the zoom out of your story, because they're so egocentric that we kind of get stuck in this little bubble.
Mm-hmm.
But really looking at, zooming out and what it all meant and how other people must have felt, and just to see if there might be another learning or perspective in there for us. And we are not our stories.
We are not our stories.
Nope.
We are not. I agree with that.
Well, thank you for a wonderful chat.
Yeah, thank you for listening. If you want to know more about us, we are courageousheartscoaching.com. Go to our website and you'll see our book and you'll see our podcast and you will see our workshops and you will see our office and you will see Jackie and I.
Hi. We need to have like some cool like courageous hearts out, like some cool like courageous hearts,
Do it. That's
out.
it. All right, goodbye. Thank you, guys.